and liberty. Bro, what the f? Whenever a new MMORPG releases, there's always this freaking race to max level to see what the game has to offer, but let's be honest, man, you and me don't got that kind of time on our hands to get to max level and grind the best loot in the game in that amount of time, broski. Like, what happened to enjoying the game and getting immersed in its vast new world and community of players eager to really start dogging on you once you fail in a specific dungeon? In regards to Throne and Liberty, I've seen a lot of people talking about min-maxing, grouping up, guilding up, and trying to maximize the output in your time in this game. And that's all valid. I mean, you can do all of that kind of stuff if you're into it, of course. But I was kind of wondering to myself if the game was at all accessible to the casual solo player. A person like me who kind of likes to kick their feet up at the end of the day, not literally because I'd knock my PC over. But the idea is you kick your feet up at the end of the day after a long day of work, of hard work with your calloused hands. So in this video, we look at the kind of casual solo dolo experience of this MMO. So without any more filler, subscribe if you're new and let's get on with the shebangies. Now, I'm well aware that the best gear in the game is acquired through the guild system and playing more of the end game content, of course, but it doesn't ignore the fact that you can also just play this game somewhat completely solo. And that's more than evident in the opening minutes of the game, where you see all kinds of stuff go down, from evil hot ladies attacking not so evil and not so hot looking people in the world of Cilicia. From the first minute of the game, you notice that there is a clear emphasis on the story here, and for the solo dolo players out there, that's only a good thing, because the devs themselves also mentioned that this is a narrative driven experience in general. Now, what isn't really all that cool, even after the first minutes, is how freaking convoluted the damn story is, man. Like, that shit lost me after like 2 minutes flat.
I'm confused. I'm confused right now, G.
And if you know anything about me, then you know that I suck at following large-scale stories in games, broski. So instead of embarrassing myself on here, I do want to give a quick lowdown on the story and then move on to the meat, the carne of this video, which is the gameplay and the overall fun factor. Now, you are this created character that has the same fate as literally the rest of the player base in becoming the destined hero and all that jazz, but I won't bore you with any more story details because, bro, if I didn't follow the story, then why would I pretend to know anything about it in all honesty? Now, once you do the tutorial, it throws you into the great Framelands, where once you sluggishly make it out of the main spawn area, you set out to explore the world and level up by completing quests in a very traditional MMO way, with missions asking you to clear a certain amount of monsters or collect some items and basically be an errand boy. Kind of like a delivery driver in a sense, but instead of delivering food, you deliver death in the form of different weapon combinations, if you know what I'm saying. You'll be spending most of your time running back and forth, talking to different people, and doing this in the most mindless way you can ever imagine, and I have to be very honest with the word mindless here. It's not necessarily a bad thing for people who don't care and just want to make it to max level clearing quests, but I did find myself not really getting very motivated to keep finding out what happened next in the story, and the more I played the early game, the more I found myself just skipping most of the dialogue, in all honesty. There are some single player instance quests too that transport you to certain locations to either relive a thing that happened via a cool cutscene in the past, or go through a mission that ends up with you fighting a boss enemy, and those moments were really okay fun. Like, I gotta be honest, man, those moments were cool, and I'll be the first to admit that, man. Some of the cutscenes look awesome and characters look anime as sometimes, which is all nice. Now, there are other ways to gain experience as well, with interactable things around the world in the form of collectibles or challenges and some kind of bounty quests as well. There's also co-op dungeons once you make it to a certain level, as well as over the course of leveling up, you get this solo boss arena kind of fight that you get to do. I found that to be like one of the highlights in the game, because it was really cool to be in this arena to fight different boss enemies in the game. At least in the early hours of the game and not really touching any of the end game content, I found the game not really forcing me to play in groups or get social at all, because ew, who likes being social anyway? You get to go about your own pace, which for the solo players out there is a really nice thing to experience. Now, all of these things can either be a absolute slog or go by in a breeze, depending on how the combat and traversal plays out. And thankfully, I do think out of everything that Throne and Liberty has in it, combat is the absolute highlight here, because of the way you can build your class, how the abilities look in general, and just the moment-to-moment gameplay in the combat was fun. It's a tap target system where you have your set of skills to use and abuse on your way to maximum level, and you can mix and match, like I said, man, 2 main weapons to make your own rotation of skills, which I found a joy to do and tinker around with. Unlike games with multiple weapons like ESO or even New World as well, you don't have to actually change weapons weapons to use the other skills, and you get to just press a button and watch enemies melt in front of you or turn to ice alternatively. And I found that to be a ton of fun, even if a bit boring at times in all honesty, because bigger boss enemies, like I mentioned earlier, man, they look cool in a sense. The arenas look cool, but those kind of highlight the fact that they're just huge, massive healthfuls in enemies, and it's a question of endurance sometimes, of you just whittling their health bars down while making sure you don't get whittled down yourself. Now, what isn't at all mindless is all the crafting, all the skills, all the upgrades, and all the deeper RPG elements in this game, bro. And I do have to say, there is a freaking metric shit ton to get into here. Even if it's not that difficult to learn by yourself, I do maybe recommend you watch at least some tutorials or videos to kind of get the lowdown on what to do and what not to do, more importantly, because apparently you can also make mistakes in the upgrade paths. But overall, in a casual sense, you pick the combination of weapons you like and play with those. And as for gear stats, man, you see what fits your playstyle and go ham on those stats. Like, we've all been there trying to get the best out of our gear, of course. You upgrade the ones you like and sell the ones you don't. I mean, it's as simple as that. Now, someone might tell you differently, to which I will not argue at all, because there can be a lot of tinkering here, like I said. But I don't think it's that deep in general, and as a pick up and play kind of MMO, you can just kind of pick your own style, pick your own wardrobe as well. Just go at it, man. The game is not that difficult in the open world, so it's okay to just experiment and see what fits your own playstyle. And I hope what I'm saying here doesn't come as a groundbreaking surprise out there, broski, because you really don't gotta do all that in-maxing and all of that tinkering around with gear to have fun in this game, because you can just have fun just by playing it. Overall, while I initially had fun with parts of the game, I ultimately found it kind of boring to play, in all honesty, and I gotta get into this, so I'm sorry about it. But I mean, man, the combat is nice to look at, but like I said, man, it's just a spam fest in the end at times. I've mentioned the word mindless in this video a few times already. I found it not really engaging to progress in the game in terms of getting to the next objective or the next kind of milestone in the game. It feels super weird to say, but it's missing that certain spark that you might find in some other games that make it a bit more engaging, and I found that very weird, and I find it very weird to say at this moment in time as well, because it's weird, man. I feel like I should like this game in a sense, like on paper, all the different aspects, all the different features in this game make for an awesome experience, and I feel like I should like it, but it feels a bit lackluster, if I'm being very honest, man. I feel a bit guilty in not liking this game because it's got a bunch of individual concepts, like I said, that work in games in general, and you would hope for games to have this kind of traversal system or this kind of other features as well. But as a collective here, I just found it to be a bit meh. Now, your experience might be wildly different, and I do hope you let me know in the comments down below if this is the case, my broski. But I found this game to be a collection of individual systems that work well on paper, but they just lack that certain oomph where you're actually in the thick of it playing the game. And I don't know if I'm the only one saying this, but the initial grind does seem like a big hurdle for some, while others might find it absolutely lovely, because if you like to grind and min-max all the way to the end, be in a guild and do all the group content, then man, there's a bunch of that to be done here and a bunch of fun to be had, man. More than likely you will get some form of enjoyment out of it. For the casual player though, and more so the solo player like myself, of course, you can also have a ton of fun here for a good while at least, man. I don't mean like hundreds of hours like you would get in some other MMOs potentially, but that could be attributed to the game being relatively new as well, but more like a good 30-ish hours. I mean, you do level up quite fast and get to max level relatively quickly, so it can be over in quite a breeze, if I were to say that. You can get through it quite fast, and that was a cool idea in a sense. But yeah, like I said, man, getting there fast might not necessarily be good if the actual meat, the carne of the game, is boring. I think for myself, at least as a solo player, it ends up being more like a box ticking open world RPG than an MMO, if that makes any sense. And for some people out there, they might enjoy the story and the grind, in which case I know nothing, and this video has been utterly useless in terms of reaffirming your love for throne and liberty, of course. But as for the usual rating that we also love to do on this channel, I rate games on a 3-tier list system of day one buys, maybe waits, or only fans unintended. This game for me personally, after hours upon hours of really freaking trying to get into it and see what all the fuss is about, ends up being an only fans, broski. I personally find some other MMOs be more engaging to play through, like ESO for example. I personally love ESO. I like New World, not as much as ESO probably, but I liked New World as well. I like WoW, I like Guild Wars, these kind of games where it felt a bit more engaging to get through and level up, especially during the early game and the mid game kind of leveling up. But this game, I really don't know what it is. I really can't put my hand on it, my finger on it, my small sausage fingers around it, but I'm so confused trying to talk about this game, honestly, because it feels like it's right there, like you should, it's right there, you should be enjoying it, but I just don't, I just didn't, in all honesty, and I feel kind of guilty for not enjoying it maybe as much as some other people did, but that's what makes gaming so great, is I can find something absolutely trash while other people find it very enjoyable, and that's what makes this community kind of building so cool, because you can agree to disagree as well with me, and I do hope you let me know in the comments down below. And I also heard that the guild system in the game is one of these Monopoly kind of things where it's gonna break the game essentially in the end. So I do want to know if you actively play this game, if the guild system is as bad as some people make it out to be, as well as if you're actually enjoying the game, and if it gets better through the mid to late game as well for the solo player, man. Any and all comments will take this video a very long way. I do want to hear your thoughts on this game, of course. So that pretty much wraps it up for myself, at least. I probably won't be jumping back into this game for a while unless something drastic happens in the form of changing the leveling experience in general. But for me, man, yeah, I found it a bit mid, in all honesty, but I do think that you might probably disagree with me. So I do hope you let me know in the comments down below what you think of this game. Man, subscribe to the channel if you made it this far, of course, man. You might as well. You probably got some enjoyment out of this video, so I brought this cringe shit back, man. Subscribe to the channel. In any case, I've been your broski. I don't really know how to end this video, so if you enjoyed this video, then man, click this link right here or click that link. I apparently find it very difficult to make outros, man. Look, I've filmed this outro about 15 times already. If you enjoyed this video, man, click that link right there. Click this link right here or subscribe to the freaking channel, man. I'm getting mad at myself for having to film this so many times. I hope you guys have a great day wherever you're from, whichever time of day you watch this ad. Look, keep on trucking my broskis. Peace.